Watching GVTV News.
Thanks, Gloria, and I'm Randy Hansen. In World News headlines today, National Day of Action kicks off third month of OWS. And 95 arrested at Bank of America in San Francisco. And U.S. establishes permanent military presence in Australia. And U.S. accused of weakening international cluster ban. And in Bali, Obama is on another vacation. And U.S. receives new bunker-busting bombs. And Karzai says no U.S. agreement without end tonight raids. And Arab League suspends Syria, gives deadline. And Kuwaiti protesters storm parliament over corruption. And Gingrich defends lucrative Freddie Mac work. And invoking OWS, SEIU gives Obama early endorsement. And suspect arrested in White House shooting. But before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's first world news story, protests are being held across the country as part of a National Day of Action marking the 2-month anniversary of Occupy Wall Street movement. In New York, organizers had been distributing posters reading "Shut down Wall Street, occupy the subways, take the square." The massive day of action comes just 2 days after New York police raided the Occupy Wall Street at Liberty Square, tore down the encampment. On Wednesday, the Indian author and activist Arundhati Roy asked Occupy Wall Street protesters at Judson Memorial Church in Washington Square Park and said, "The Occupy movement has joined thousands of other resistant movements all over the world in which the poorest of people are standing up and stopping the richest corporations in their tracks. Few of us dreamed that we would see you, the people of the United States, on our side, trying to do this in the heart of empire." In San Francisco, 95 protesters were arrested on Wednesday after occupying a Bank of America branch in the financial district. Demonstrators pitched a tent inside the branch before they were detained. The action came as part of an Occupy march through downtown San Francisco to denounce tuition hikes and budget cuts at University of California schools. The Obama administration has unveiled plans for a permanent military presence in Australia. Starting next summer, the U.S. will deploy 250 Marines for 6-month tours, eventually reaching a force of 2,500 troops. Speaking before the Austrian parliament, President Obama said the U.S. military presence in the Pacific is here to stay. He said, "So here's what this region must know as we end our today's wars. I have directed my national security team to make our presence and mission in the Asia Pacific a top priority. As a result, reductions in U.S. defense spending will not come at an expense of the Asia Pacific. My guidance is clear because we plan a budget for a future. We will allocate the resources necessary to maintain our strong military presence in this region. The United States is a Pacific power. We are here to stay." From Australia, Obama flew to Indonesian island of Bali to meet with foreign leaders and unveil some $25 billion in trade deals at a summit in East Asian countries. And getting a suntan, probably. The Obama administration is being accused of weakening an international convention banning cluster bombs at a key international meeting in Geneva. Member states of the convention on certain conventional weapons have gathered to finalize a legal binding protocol. The U.S. has played a key role in the talks despite refusing to join the convention, reportedly pushing a proposal that would allow the use of all cluster munitions made by 1980 or after 1980. Steve Goose of the Cluster Munitions Coalition slammed the U.S. stance, said, "We have governments here this week and next week negotiating a new international treaty on cluster munitions with much lower standards. This has never happened before in international humanitarian law, where you have a treaty that has been agreed by the majority of the world's nations with very high standards, and then states get together and try and negotiate an alternative treaty with very low standards. We find this outrageous." The Pentagon has confirmed it's received massive new bunker-busting bomb capability of destroying underground sites, including Iran's nuclear facilities. 30,000-pound bombs are 6 times the size of the Air Force's current arsenal of bunker busters. And Afghan's President Ahmed Karzai has renewed calls for the U.S. to end night raids in Afghan homes. Karzai said the halt to the raid would be a precondition for any new military deal with his government. And he said, "We want a strategic partnership, but with specific conditions. Our national integrity, no night raids, no house searches. They must not have their own prison on our soil. This is our country. Prison must be under the control of our Ministry of Interior and Justice. If they want military partnership, we are ready to give them that. That is in our national interest. Their military establishments will put money and training on our soldiers. We are ready to sign the agreement if they accept these conditions." Syrian troops have made a number of arrests in restive province of Hama following an attack by army defectors on a military site near Damascus. 8 Syrian troops were reportedly killed in the assault, one of the boldest so far to target the regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Meanwhile, the Arab League has affirmed its decision to suspend Syria over the crackdown and has given Assad 3 days to end the violence or face economic sanctions. In Kuwait, dozens of protesters forced their way into parliament on Wednesday in a rare protest against government corruption. Kuwait's ruling al-Sabah family has faced growing scrutiny over allegations officials have transferred state funds to overseas bank accounts. Republican presidential hopeful Newt Gingrich has refused to confirm how much he was paid while working as a consultant to the mortgage giant Freddie Mac. It's revealed this week Gingrich received about $1.8 million in consulting fees from Freddie Mac over an 8-year span beginning in 1999. Freddie Mac played a key role in the nation's financial meltdown and was taken over by federal government in 2008. The disclosure has drawn scrutiny in part because of Gingrich's previous criticism of other politicians who have taken money from Freddie Mac. In 2008, Gingrich called on President Obama to return all donations from the company, and just last month he called for jailing of Congressmember Barney Frank. Yes, he should be, citing his ties to Freddie Mac. Gingrich made the comment in a televised debate, and he said the fix was put in by the federal government, and if you want to put people in jail, I want to second what Minnesota Representative Michelle Bachmann said. You ought to start with Barney Frank, Massachusetts representative, and former Connecticut Senator Chris Dodd, and let's lock up the politicians who created the environment, the politicians who profited from the environment, and the politicians who put this country in trouble. Charlie Rose, moderator, said, "Clearly you're not saying they should go to jail," and Gingrich said, "Well, in Chris Dodd's case, go back and look at the countryside deals. In Barney Frank's case, go back and look at the lobbyists he was close to at Freddie Mac." On Wednesday, Gingrich tried to cite his work for Freddie Mac as a boost for his White House bid, saying, "It reminds people that I know a great deal about Washington." In other campaign news, 2.1 million strong Service Employees International Union, the SEIU, has given an early endorsement to President Obama's re-election bid. In a video statement, SEIU President Mary Kay Henry offered backing to Obama by invoking the Occupy Wall Street movement. She said, "And we agree all across the SEIU that we need to stand for the 99% agenda, re-elect our President Barack Obama, and that those 2 steps are on the same path that we've been talking about in building a new movement for social and economic justice in our banana republic." No, country. I'm kidding. so that we can make 2012 election about the agenda for the 99%. And a 21-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of firing shots near the White House last week. Suspect Oscar Ramiro Ortega Hernandez had been wanting for questioning after a bullet hit a White House window on Friday. And that's it for the World News today. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. You guessed it, it's us, GVTV News.
Soundcheck Music Center, the rock and roll connection. We have guitars, amps, drum equipment, sound accessories, lessons, and repairs. We are located at 671 Maltman Drive, Grass Valley. 530-272-7236, open 7 days a week.
Something happening here, but what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware.
That's right, Sammy. It's time for the police blotter. Pictures in the blotter not from these actual events but used for visual aid only. Grass Valley Police Department on Tuesday. 9:32 a.m. Case for possession of less than an ounce of marijuana was taken in the 100 block of Park Avenue. 10:56 a.m. Caller from 1700 block of East Main Street reported two left without paying for food. And 11:04 a.m. a caller from 100 block of West McKnight Way reported a man left with a cart of merchandise. And 12 p.m. a man from 700 block South Auburn Street reported a man threatened to kill him and his family with a gun. And 1:35 p.m. caller from Sierra College reported thefts from vending machines. And 2:19 p.m. caller from 400 block of Dalton Street reported a vehicle with the window broken out. It appeared someone had tried to take the speakers. And 2:42 p.m. caller from D. Motino Park reported finding marijuana, which was collected for destruction. They were going to smoke it all up. 6:22 p.m. caller from 100 block of Neal Street reported being spit on by two men. 6:33 p.m. caller from 800 block of Forest Glade Circle reported that a drunken man was hitting his mother. She did not want to press charges. 6:48 p.m. a woman from 400 block of Dalton Street reported a possible phone scam. And 8:17 p.m. a caller from 700 block of Sutton Way reported a physical fight involving four men who fled and could not be located. And Wednesday, 12:08 a.m. caller from East Main Street reported a transient in a sleeping bag who was moving on. Nevada County Sheriff Office on Tuesday, 8:31 a.m. A stolen vehicle was recovered 26,000 block of Sweetland Road. And 8:42 a.m. a caller from 12,000 block of Long Valley Road reported identity theft. And 11:24 a.m. a Be on the Lookout advisory was issued for a female jail inmate who failed to return after a 12-hour pass. 1:05 p.m. possible stolen boat was located on Rollins Lake. I don't know why she's in that picture. 1:49 p.m. a caller from 10,000 block of Timber Lane Drive reported possible identity theft. And 3:15 p.m. a juvenile was cited on a drug charge on Spenceville Road. And 4:10 p.m. caller from Limekiln Road reported an attempted residential burglary. 5:37 p.m. a caller from 16,000 block of Pascali Road reported a man wandering around wearing one rubber medical glove and one regular glove, dragging a rolling garbage can containing his belongings. 6:07 p.m. a caller from 17,000 block Penn Valley Drive reported possible drug activity. Well, the people were doing their laundry. 6:18 p.m. caller from 11,000 block Francis Drive reported an amp had been stolen from a vehicle. At 11:22 p.m. caller from 11,000 block of Sierra Circle reported banging noises. 11:25 p.m. juvenile from Rex Reservoir Road sought treatment at a hospital for an accidental gunshot wound to the hand. And Wednesday, 12:33 a.m., a caller from 28,000 block of New School Road reported hearing multiple gunshots. And 5:59 a.m., a woman from 15,000 block of Penfold Place reported a vehicle stolen from her garage. It was recovered. And that's it today for our blotter. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's local news headlines, alcohol believed to be a factor in a major accident. A Nevada City man arrested in alleged stolen car. And controversy swirls around contract decision. And in a story written by Matthew Renda of the Union, a head-on collision resulted in major injuries to a motorist on Highway 174, according to law enforcement officials. 2:40 p.m., T. Douglas, 43, out of Chicago Park, was headed northbound on the highway in a GMC Envoy, when, for reasons yet to be determined, she swerved into the southbound lane and collided with a big rig driven by C. Brilliant, 32 years old, of Sacramento, said California Highway Patrol spokesman Mark Morrison. Douglas suffered a broken femur, wrist, arm, and fractured ribs and was flown via helicopter to Sutter Roseville Hospital, Morrison said. Brilliant complained of minor pain but otherwise emerged unscathed. Alcohol is believed to be a factor, but the incident is still under investigation. Highway 174 was shut down for 45 minutes in the aftermath of that wreck. First names of the involved parties were not available at the time of this story. In a story written by Liz Keller, a Nevada City man remains in custody in county jail after a California Highway Patrol officer pulled him over in a vehicle that had been reported as stolen. CHP vehicle was parked on westbound Interstate 80 at Soda Springs using a license plate scanner when it got a low jack hit on the 2006 Toyota Highlander, said the CHP officer. Alert came from a device that uses small infrared cameras mounted on the police car to automatically scan license plates and match numbers against a database of stolen vehicles and people wanting for crimes. The SUV was stopped by the Truckee CHP with assistance from Truckee police. Driver was identified as Brett Charles Minogue, 21, who was allegedly under the influence of alcohol. Minogue was also found to be a convicted felon and was in possession of a loaded firearm and a small amount of marijuana, according to the CHP report. He was arrested on suspicion of vehicle theft, possession of a stolen vehicle, carrying a concealed weapon in a vehicle, being a felon in possession of a firearm and ammunition, carrying a loaded firearm, driving under the influence, possession of marijuana while driving, and having an outstanding warrant. He was held with a no bail warrant. In another Matthew Renda article, a decision by Nevada County government leaders to forego the standard process for awarding contracts was criticized Tuesday as the Board of Supervisors approved another $50,000 to promote tourism. The award this week to the regional chambers of commerce comes on the heels of the board decision to spend more than $100,000 to build and launch a new tourism site called GoNevadaCounty.com. The regional chambers are comprised of members from Grass Valley, Truckee, Nevada City, South County, and Penn Valley Chamber of Commerce. That joint group was directed by the board to devise projects to promote tourism in Nevada County. Supervisors have been focusing on tourism in the hopes of generating needed sales tax revenues, but the process has raised questions from some taxpayers and others. The board has a schizophrenic approach on contract awarding, said Nevada County resident Will Grintz, who said he previously managed contracts for Boeing. Supervisor Nate Beeson also criticized the process as the board was forced to amend the contract to stipulate the withdrawal of an additional $3,400 from the contingency funds to pay for installing an interactive calendar and a virtual tour onto the county tourism website, on top of the $50,000 it awarded the chambers. Had we done an RFP, or request for proposal, we probably would have included these in the contract, Beeson added. But we didn't do it. We did it outright, an outright grant, and now we have to figure out how to deal with it. I think there is a lesson learned here about the process, he said. Following Tuesday's meeting, Shannon Pelling, her husband Jeff was the former editor of the Union, who was awarded $20,000 contract in October to maintain the county's official website, said the board needs to solicit competitive bids when awarding contracts in order to get the best value for taxpayers, while also allowing the board to dictate specific contract elements. During the meeting's public comment, Shannon Pelling expressed concern about a tourism-related brochure distributed by the Regional Chambers of Commerce that featured a prominent advertisement by NevadaCountyGold.com, which touted itself as the official tourism website for Nevada County. I'm wondering about the board supervisor's continued implicit endorsement of the use of official by that private entity, Pelling added. The advertisement points to a competing portal, and that's going to create a problem getting eyes to the county's website. Susan George, president of Nevada County Regional Chambers of Commerce, bristled at the criticism, saying the brochure is self-sustaining due to advertisement, while conceding the use of the term official should be exclusive to the GoNevadaCounty.com, which, according to a national web traffic comparison site, reported just 353 unique visits. And hope we get more. They should go there now. You should go there, check it out. We keep using the word collaborative, and I hope that there is a collaboration between our two major contractors, said Chairman Ed Schofield during the meeting. It's got to start right here, so hopefully there is no sniping at each other. Both women downplayed the rift following the meeting, saying they would be able to collaborate. It's a process we have to work through and get to know each other, said George. There's no good reason why we shouldn't be able to work together. We're preparing to sit down for a meeting next week, Pauline said, adding she is looking forward to working with the chambers. Despite the issue over the process, Beeson said he is confident that taxpayers are getting a better deal for their money every year, and the tourism promotion is progressing in a positive direction. We've gone down the rough road here, and we've identified some potholes, said Supervisor Terry Lampier, before voting to approve the contract. I'm going along with this, but I'm hoping we'll have those potholes fixed next time we see this. Unlike its Placer County neighbor, Nevada County outsources most of all its tourism marketing efforts through contracts. That's it today for local news. GVTV News. I'd like to thank Associated Press, Reuters, Amy Goodman, the Union, and others for the source of our news, and especially you for watching. Don't forget, we are broadcast 3 times a day on public access, NCTV, Comcast Cable Channel 11, and Southern Link Channel 16 in Truckee and Alta Sierra, 8 a.m., 3 p.m., 7:30 p.m., Monday through Friday. Random other times, sometimes, and other times that we're on, you can check the website schedule to see when that is. We are streamed daily at NevadaCountyTV.org, video on demand there, and also our websites, GVTV.org and GrassValleyTelevision.com and RuralCountiesTelevisionNetwork.ning.com. That's a long one. We also post to Facebook, YouTube, Blip.tv, a free video podcast on iTunes. You can get us on smartphones, PSP, and many handheld devices. We have our RSS feed, and we usually have quite a few other things on our site besides just the news. And now we have another little rant. I'm on a rant this week, and then another thanks to Warning, this is GVTV News Teapot Alert. This is not news, but a commentary of great importance. It has no affiliation of the news, but this is a commentator's opinion only. Let's face it, until we start telling the truth about pot, nobody will believe anything said about harder drugs. Mixed message is having alcohol, which is a drug, being separated from the rest of the drugs and being accepted in society, and cigarettes, which also are a drug, being peddled through retail outlets everywhere, every day, killing millions. If you want to slow down the amount of addiction in our youth, then be honest about the effects of pot and don't make it the little tiny stepping stone into the drug world. Make the first step a giant one like heroin or methamphetamines, and much less likely people will follow that path. Just take all the drugs and put them into drugstores. Take them away from the cartels and the street pushers. Tax them all and take the money to help treat those who seek treatment, and use honest and real facts to warn people away from a life of illegal drugs. It might not hurt to look at the millions of drugs being peddled by our doctors too, if you're going on a fact hunt about drugs. And quit calling it alcohol and drugs. It's alcohol and other drugs. A medicinal pot clinic is not going to sell pot to kids, and unless the people that go in these places accidentally drop their medication as they walk out the door, you won't see more drugs in school. If you give them the facts instead of reverting to the pre-60s mentality of reefer madness, you will have the next generation in much better shape. Christopher's Old World Deli and Catering Company has brought its delicious food and service downtown Grass Valley. You like desserts? They got them. You like international style lunches? They got them. Christopher's Deli and Catering for parties, get-togethers, weddings, or whatever. Open 7